He looked up at Jim and saw that the boy was looking closely at some broken branches. Spark went over to his side and tried to warn him somehow, but Jim's eyes were up and he couldn't see him. Oh, if only I could use those strange sounds people make when they meet and say something to each other. How can I let him know something's unusual? He didn't have much time to think about it, because Jim was already on his way, looking for broken branches in the trees. And Spark noticed that Jim was walking right where the strange smell was. After about 10 minutes, Jim and Spark found themselves in front of a bushy bush. Jim kept looking left and right to see if he could find more broken branches, but Spark could smell the strange smell somewhere in the middle of the bush. He poked his head through the foliage, and even a stray thorns pricked him. He slipped easily past the bushy bush that covered the entrance to a cave. Jim realized that Spark was already behind the bush and managed to find a way through. He couldn't believe it when he saw a huge, dark cave ahead. He motioned for Spark to be quiet and began to crawl around the cold stone walls. Spark didn't understand why he had to walk so slowly, but then he realized that Jim didn't have that thing called light with him. So he stepped in front of the boy, knowing that he would be better able to see any unforeseen obstacles. After a few hundred yards or so, he saw a faint light and raised voices. It was clear that some people were having a heated argument, but Jim still couldn't figure out what it was about. When he finally managed to see what was going on, he was stunned, and the first thing he thought of was stopping Spark. Standing in front of them were three tall, strong men in their 40s who could have fought a bear. What they were fighting over was a box in the middle of the cave with a bunch of jewels in it, the sparkle of which was dazzling. Jim didn't know what they were, because he'd never seen so many colored stones reflecting the light of the three men's flashlights. But from what he'd read in adventure books, they were emeralds, rubies, sapphires, and other gems encrusted with jewels that were probably worth a lot of money. He didn't know what to do. He wanted to call the police. But what if the people left? How would he find them? What about the jewelry? Surely they were stolen from somewhere. Otherwise, why hide them there? He kept searching his mind for solutions and couldn't find any. Trying not to be seen by the three men, who continued to argue in a heated tone, Jim crept around the cave walls, which were still shrouded in darkness because the torchlight didn't reach them. Spark wanted to follow him, but Jim motioned for him to stay put. The puppy knew the sign well. He saw it every day when he accompanied Jim to school, and the boy would stop him at the gate and motion for him to wait there. It took him a while to understand what Jim wanted, but now he knew better than to stop. With light, cat-like steps, the boy slowly approached the huge box. The three men were a few feet away, busy with their heated discussion. Jim's plan was to grab a piece of jewelry and take it to the police, hoping that would be enough for them to believe him and catch the three thieves. When he reached the box, Jim stretched out on his stomach, though the cold rock and fear had nearly frozen him. But the adrenaline urged him on, making him crawl on his elbows until he managed to touch with his fingers the wooden crate that had now become a kind of screen between him and the three men. Without looking, fumbling, Jim slowly raised his hand and took the first object his fingers caught from the crate. It was a gold necklace with a bright red pendant. Just as slowly, he retreated the same way he had come. He breathed a sigh of relief when he felt Spark's soft fur caressing his ankles. Now he had to find a way to get to the police, but he didn't want to give the thieves a chance to get away. The only way to do that was to send Spark after the police and have him stay and watch the thieves. So he took the puppy closer to him, put the collar around his neck, and whispered in his ear, "Spark, go get the police. Come on, Spark, run." To the police, Spark, go on, go.